Hi everyone, welcome to week 4 of our Comp 1 class. This is an important week because it's the first time one of your major projects is due for this course. Before submitting your work though, you'll give feedback to your peers to help them make their projects even better, and your peers will do the same for you. Try to be honest, helpful, and encouraging in your commenting process. For task 4.1, we have some readings from your textbook as per usual. Please read chapter 31 on assessing your own writing, chapter 32 on getting response and revising, and chapter 33 on editing and proofreading. All of these chapters are designed to familiarize you with the peer review process as well as the process of editing and revising a draft before submitting a final product. For task 4.2, you are going to be completing a peer review. You'll use the discussion board to engage in peer review. Your comments should be posted by 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday. Peer review, some of you have maybe done this before. Others of you, this may be your first time. Peer review refers to the process of getting and giving feedback on a draft from peers. For our purposes, your peers are your classmates, people who are working on the same assignment you are working on. Their feedback can be extremely valuable in helping you make your writing effective. This week, you're going to read and comment on 2 of your classmates' drafts. So last week, everyone should have posted their rough drafts to the week 3/4 discussion board. This week, you will read 2 of those drafts and provide feedback. You can choose whose drafts you want to read. Early in the week, you should claim drafts by posting a reply to 2 of your classmates. So just in the discussion board, go to where they have shared their paper, click reply, just say something like, I will be reading your paper this week, or I will be your peer review partner, just to let them know who they can expect to receive feedback from. Try not to claim a draft if 2 other people have already claimed it. So if you go to one of your peers' papers, you see 2 other people have already replied to them, go and try to find someone who doesn't have a peer review partner yet. This is not a flawless system, but we want to do what we can to ensure that everyone is receiving at least some feedback. It ends up, it really kind of stinks to get to the end of this peer review process and realize that no one has read and commented on your work. So to help avoid putting people in that position, try as much as you can to claim people who haven't had their drafts claimed yet. A real quick kind of side tip, you can check out the Student Success Gallery in week 4 for examples of what peer review looks like. For step 2, you're going to read each of the drafts. As you read, I'd like you to consider a few things. Is the opening interesting? Is the overall number and arrangements of vignettes effective? Would a different order be more effective? Were there places where you were confused? Are people and scenes vividly described? Is dialogue used to enhance the vignettes? Did the vignettes focus on a very specific time frame or a very specific event? Is the significance of the vignettes clear? Is the overall message or theme coming across to readers? Does the visual design of the document make sense? Does it make it easier to read? Could the organization within the paragraphs or within the sections of the collage be improved at all? So things, does the order make sense? Are things flowing the way that they should? Are there any editing problems that need to be addressed? And finally, share some tips from the chapters you've been consulting from our textbook for help. Have you come across a section or an idea from the book that might be especially helpful to your peer? If so, give them the details about where to find that info. Step 3, after reading each draft, write comments about the draft or make a video or audio of yourself talking directly to your peer. Use the above questions as a guide for making your comments. If you type your comments, please type them directly into the text box of your discussion reply thread. If you make a video or audio recording, please upload it following the instructions below. I will say that as I grade peer review, I will be looking for uh, thoughtful and thorough feedback. If you just say, like, your paper looks good, I liked it, you will not get full credit on this assignment. Even if you don't feel like you are a very good writer, even if you're not super confident in the feedback that you're giving, you still have insights. You still have, you've written things before, you've read things before. You know what makes a good story. You know what is interesting or not. So be honest with your peers, try to give good feedback, and make sure that you are giving them enough to work with. So that's what the peer review process is going to look like this week. After you get feedback from your peers, you're going to spend some time revising and editing it. When you revise, try to use your peers' advice to make the draft as good as it can be. Also, think about what you learned from reading your classmates' drafts this week and apply that learning to your own revision. This is a nice thing about peer review. When you peer review, you are giving feedback to your peers. Hopefully, you're also receiving feedback from your peers. But when you read someone else's writing, that is going to give you a good sense of if you are headed in the right direction or not. Does it seem like you and your peers are doing similar things, or have you done something that is vastly different from what your peers are doing? Reading other people's writing can give you lots of good insights into your own projects. After you've finished revising, spend some time editing. Revising tends to be more like the big ideas, the structure, the content of a piece of writing. Editing is more about grammar, spelling, punctuation, those sorts of things. You should also watch this video, which is an editing tip about tense consistency. A common issue in narrative writing is shifting verb tense. So perhaps starting out in past tense and then switching to future tense or past tense, present tense. You want to make sure that your verbs are consistent. Task 4.4 is preparing for teacher review. To get a sense of how I might respond to your draft and apply the grading rubric, please read the sample paper attached above, this right here, and watch the 2 videos available below. In this first video, another English instructor responds to a student's draft. And in this video, the same instructor is going to walk you through how the rubric functions. All English instructors at Columbus State use the same rubric, more or less. So this video will give you a good idea of how I will be grading your papers. If you have any questions for me about how you're going to be graded, feel free to contact me. Be happy to answer those questions. I'll also say that I will grade your rough drafts here pretty soon. I typically just look at those to see if you have submitted a draft. If you have, I will give you full credit for it. I do not spend much time reading the drafts because I spend quite a lot of time reading the final drafts. If you would like me to look at a specific portion of your rough draft, I can, but I typically do not read more than like one paragraph of a student's draft. However, if you have specific questions, I would be happy to answer those. When I grade your final drafts, I'll leave pretty thorough feedback on them. And if you don't like the grade that you received, you will have an opportunity to revise to get a higher grade. So again, I don't spend much time on the rough drafts because a lot of work is put into reading the final drafts, and you will be able to use my feedback to revise your papers if you would like. After peer review, if you feel like you didn't get as much feedback as you wanted, feel free to contact other class members to ask them to read your paper, ask family members or friends outside of the college to read your work. You can also go to the Writing Center on campus. I know that the Writing Center is open at the downtown campus. The Delaware branch might also be open. I'm less sure about that. You can also attend virtually or digitally as well. So there is an online writing center. I actually work in the online writing center on Fridays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if you would like me to go over your entire draft with you and help you out, I am happy to do that with you during my time in the writing center. So let me know, and we can schedule a time for that. Task 4.5 is taking stock of your work. Once you're finished with your draft, it's a good idea to reflect, to look back and think about what went well and what you would improve on. There's a tendency in students to just write the paper and then never think about it again, but that's not really how good writing happens. It's not how people become better writers and learn from their experiences. So it's helpful to kind of once you've finished writing a draft, pause, think about it, think about what you struggled with, think about what went well, think about what you would do differently if you had another opportunity. For this assignment, I'd like you to answer all three of the questions below. Be sure to include the question number in your answer. You should basically always be doing that. Anytime you respond to any prompts in our class, make sure to let me know which you are responding to. Sometimes prompts kind of overlap. Other times it's not entirely clear which prompt you're responding to. So just make it abundantly clear what you are responding to. That way I can grade your assignments accurately. For step B here, answer any two of the following questions, and again, be sure to include the question number. So you're answering all three of these prompts, and then only two of these prompts. On this page, you're going to submit your week 4 work. This is going to be the writing that you produced in response to task 4.5, which is what we just looked at, taking stock of your writing. Everything that you wrote for task 4.5, you're going to submit here on this screen. You'll notice that there's a note here that says, please do not submit your draft of project 1 in this slot. That is what the next slot is for. So on the last page of this weekly module, submit writing project 1. So you're submitting those assignments in two different places. Peer review is going on the discussion board. The writing that you do in response to task 4.5 is submitted here, submit week 4 work, and your final draft of your writing project is submitted here. That is all for this week. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. I'd be happy to help you out.